moving on, I got a good question for you. I think a good question.
It is a good question, I think.
For these young quarterbacks, and you talked about kind of obviously you've been in the league forever, so you March OTAs, all this shit. Now I feel like time is so much cut back in the building. Is it almost a necessity for these young quarterbacks to kind of have an off-season quarterback coach or somebody, I guess, third party or somebody that they can have on their team they can kind of check in with, work through things throughout the offseason? I know receivers, they can go and run routes, maybe catch balls from receivers, DBs, same movement stuff. But as far as knowing schemes, a lot of things are pretty similar team to team. But for a QB trying to develop with so many things on their plate so early, what do you think about that offseason quarterback coach type things as a younger quarterback when it comes to development?
Yeah, I mean, I have an interesting perspective because I never had that. I never really felt like I needed an off-season kind of quarterback guru with me. I mean, I had Tom Clements. Tom is the best quarterback guru that I know. And so I got to work with him starting in March. But I do think the off-seasons are so very important for young players to figure out how to take care of your body during that time and how much football to do, how much clearing your mind to do. But at some point, it's got to kick in. This is a full-time job. And I think it's a different game, than when I was a young player where Victory Monday meant, you don't come in Monday, you don't come in Tuesday, right? That's not really the case anymore. Like,
no more see you Wednesdays? What?
I joke about that, the few times we've won, which twice have been on Thursday. So seeing Wednesday didn't really hit as much as, when we actually won a game on Sunday. But
you felt real good that first time.
I did feel good in Tennessee. I'll see you Wednesday, yeah. But I do feel like when I say it's a full-time job, that means you're in every day. You're doing something football every single day. So even if it was like, hey, you're kind of off on Wednesday, just get a workout on Monday or Tuesday, it's never really, maybe one, twice at most in a season where you're like, I'm going to take Tuesday fully off and not go in. But if I were to do that, I'd be in the tubs, I'd be in the cold plunge, I'd be in the sauna, I'd be doing red light therapy, I'd be getting body work.
Oh,
you're never just off. I think that's the thing. You're never just off. And even in the off season, I think it's important to find a way to turn that switch off. But you're turning off your brain. You're not turning off your body. Like, you guys still take care of your body. I think if I was a young player, what I would do is I would seek out a veteran guy who knows the game and just pick his brain and get a mentor. Like, get a mentor that's played at a high level, that's done it, that can help you, that you maybe watch film with once a week or twice a week, or maybe you do fundamental stuff together, or maybe just talk about the role of being a CEO as a quarterback. I think that's really, really important. And sometimes you're lucky enough to have that guy in the room. And you've been talking about Anthony. Like, Joe Flacco to me would be a perfect guy. Joe's won a Super Bowl. He's been around for a long time. He's played on a couple other tems. Played at a high level for a long, long time. Like, what a great resource to just be like, man, let me just pick this dude's brain and learn. Or if I'm a young player reaching out to a Matt Stafford. Matt's been around forever. He played at a super high level. Or retired guys like a Matt Ryan. Matt's a great dude. Like, reaching out to a guy like that and say, hey, can we just talk once a week about what it's like to play in this league, what I need to do, how I can get better, how I can figure out my Monday to Saturday schedule. Just like, how did you prepare? What did you watch on Monday? What did you watch on Tuesday? What did you watch on Wednesday? How did you approach the install meetings during the week? What days did you like to work out on to make your body feel best? Any like little hacks, that you like that helped you feel good coming up till game day? Like, I don't know. That's as a young player, if you don't have in the room, or even if you do, like, having an outside resource like that, I think would be really good.
That's the whole convo about these young quarterbacks right now.
Yep.
And obviously Jaden's having great success, and CJ had great success last year, and he's going to continue to have great success. So I think, fans are like expecting them to be great immediately upon getting dropped in there. And then it's like, you start looking back in time outside of Peyton. Okay, Peyton is different, but he has the most interceptions in the history of any rookie quarterback. And I think Nick Saban maybe said, Coach Nick Saban came out and said, Peyton's mental toughness was built up to have a lot of failures in that first year as a rookie quarterback. But you talk about everybody else, yourself included, didn't have to play immediately, watch it, and inevitably becomes one of the greatest of all time. It's like, I think that is a huge development for quarterbacks to have and to get, is like, and take a breath even after everything you just did, high school, college, to get to this point. It's been a lot. Now, take a breath and learn what this next one is and go forward. But some places it's never going to be possible because they need it now. That's why hearing you say reach out to these retired guys is cool, because is that the quarterback community? I don't think I know. Quarterback community pretty opening and welcoming? Like if people reach out, pretty is that a normal thing?
I mean, I think so. I mean, every time when I was a young player and I used to see some of the older guys at Tahoe especially, like it was always kind of like, hey, you're in the fraternity, like you're one of us. And, the Dan Marinos and John Elways. I mean, Steve Young has been a good friend of mine for a while, somebody I've reached out to when I was a younger player to ask questions about certain things. And he was great, and I think the guys, I don't know, I think guys would enjoy that, to still be connected, to help a young guy going through it. And it's different. I sat for 3 years. J Love sat for 3 years. There's been
Tom
guys
sat behind Drew.
Tom sat, yeah.
But Patrick sat behind Alex Smith.
Yeah. I mean, and the flip side of that is some guys are ready to play in year one. But that doesn't end the story. Like I think the media world wants to crown a guy after a year. Second year is really hard because now you got 17 games of film plus playoffs on a guy to try and figure out how to stop him. And that's why it's so impressive for a guy like Lamar or anybody to win multiple MVPs, because you've had years to game plan this guy and try and figure out, okay, there was a time where everybody was zero blitzing Lamar. Let's zero blitz Lamar like crazy. Well, we got through that stretch. There's stretches of your career where you got to get through whatever the label is on how to stop, you in the way you play. And first you got to establish what the label is, because you got to go out and ball out, and then them try and figure out how to stop you. But it doesn't stop after one good year. I made the Pro Bowl my first year. Well, okay, then do it again the next year. Like it's going to be harder. Now you have 6 games against division opponents that spend a lot of their off season scouting those 3 games, trying to figure out how to stop you. So the second year is really hard. Then you kind of get over a lump at some point where now there's enough film out there that you've seen a lot more, but you're always working on your game and always working on your preparation and always working on the little things. And I think any older quarterback, whether they're still playing or retired, I think that's part of the fun part of the legacy, is to help the next generation. So I don't know how much that goes on. I think it would help certain people in certain positions, but even like Jaden after this year, I mean, it's going to be a good year wherever how he finishes. I got a real good team, that would probably be in the playoffs.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, congrats.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, yeah. I mean, but then there's going to be 17 plus games of film out there on you, and you're going to have to watch that as intently as they're watching it to figure out how they're going to try and stop you and what you can do better. And then you reinvent yourself every single year. And which is why it's so impressive to see a guy like Lamar, bring him up again, because he has gone from the most dynamic athlete in the league, which he was. And I'm not saying he's not still. I mean, he's got to be in the top couple if he's not still the most dynamic. I mean, with the ball in his hands, it's like him and Tyreek Hill are 2 of the scariest guys. I think with the ball in their hands. Yeah. But now he's done such a great job of throwing the ball on time from the pocket that makes it really tough to stop.
What did they do to you? Patrick Mahomes, they won cover 2 and just said he's going to get bored. He's going to get bored. He's not going to be able to handle running the ball and then having to play defense. That's what they did to Patrick Mahomes. He obviously gets through it. They won a Super Bowl during the entire thing. What did they do to you? What was the first thing that they started doing to you? Do you recall?
Well, it usually starts, at least back then, it started with pressure. They would try and pressure you early and see if you can pick up pressure, if you can deal the ball, if you can throw hot, if you can do production adjustments. Then a lot of times, and it went for us, it was playing a lot of too high. All right, can you be patient? Can you be patient taking checkdowns? Can you be patient throwing the ball underneath?
Tale as old as time.
Can we? And then for me, because I was extending plays so much, it was really the rush patterns that changed. So it was really box rushes, to just, like interior, very stout in the middle, and not rushing past the quarterback.
Keep you in a well, brother. Keep you in a well, brother. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
They're still doing that because you're fucking wide open out there.
Hell yeah.
Don't ever forget it.
I mean, that sucks for DBs, though.
What's that?
Like quarterbacks like Aaron or like Big Ben or somebody was like, yeah, keep him in a well, but that's,
4 or 5 seconds.
4 seconds when you got guys to adjust. And then when these quarterbacks play with these receivers, so like we see with Patrick and Travis, like he knows as soon as he breaks, like Travis, and okay, I'm going this way, and then boom, he comes, the ball's right on him. Devontae, Jordy, whoever it is, like you play with these guys so long, you know their intention, you know their body language. So it's like, yeah, keeping them in a well is great, But then when you have that extra time where you got to cover, where it doesn't matter, you can call the perfect coverage on 3rd and 8, but then you got to extend, like you can't cover that shit.
5-second plays all of a sudden become a nightmare for those who have to run all over the field and can't.
Well, that was always, I think, the backbreakers. I think DB, you'd probably agree with this. You know, when they clamp us, when they would clamp us, and I would extend the play and get out of the pocket and find somebody after 5 or 6 seconds. Those are backbreakers for the defense because you just don't have a defense. We were talking about that with DJ Reed. He was laughing. He said, "Yeah, man, I just wasn't ready for the 45-yard comeback route." He's covering a guy. The guy's running vertical. He's running with him, and then the guy breaks his route off, and a long scramble and completes a pass. He said, "Yeah, I didn't have that on the." On the old tape I watched this week, he didn't have that route. He didn't show me that route, the cut-ups.
Hey, that's perfect segue for this particular question because I guess 27 of the 35 sacks that have come for this one particular player are 4+ second plays.
Yep.
So a lot of people don't really know, and he's a rookie, he's young. I mean, it kind of all ties to this. Go ahead, Con, man.
Yeah, Aaron, big news today is Shane Waldron getting fired as the Bears OC, and obviously because of that, there's a lot of conversation about Caleb and the offensive line in Chicago and all that stuff. But what do you think is kind of going on with Caleb just personally when it comes to all these things happening? There's a radio show that's saying, some vets wanted Waldron out and they were asking if Bajan could get some time. But for Caleb as a rookie, what do you think he's kind of going through mentally, and how do you think the rest of the season kind of goes for him here after the change at OC and kind of getting a fresh voice in his helmet now?
Well, unfortunately, that's the nature of our league now, right? It's coaches and play callers on both sides of the ball aren't making it through a season. There's been a lot of quarterbacks who've had rough starts to their career with multiple play callers. I feel like at one point Alex Smith had 4 different play callers for 4 years or something, I believe, in San Fran. You can fact check me on that, but I know there's a number of play callers, and there's been a lot of guys who figured it out over the years. But it doesn't make it easy on the quarterback, for sure. There's just not a lot of patience anymore in the league. It's get this guy out of here. And unfortunately, what happens, and I really mean this, is a lot of it is rinse and repeat under the guise of brand new scheme, brand new approach, and that's the way the league is going too often. There's not the patience to go, listen, I believe in X, this person, this scheme, this coordinator, this player, and we're going to weather these storms because it's going to make us a mentally tough group or a mentally tough person. Yeah. And we're going to get behind these people. And this is, I don't care what you have to say outside the building. This is what we're going to do. And for a young player to come in like that, be drafted first overall with all the pressure, scrutiny, expectations, obviously with the roster moves they made, and then you get rid of the guy calling the plays after 10 games, something like that. That's a tough deal for him. But I don't know him. I know I know a little bit about him, and I
don't
think
give him advice.
He's strong enough. I'm not giving him advice. He's strong enough.
No, listening. No, I'm joking.
He's Drake May, though.
That was a moment between he and C.J. Stroud. That was a moment between he and C.J. Stroud, which obviously he's
strong enough mentally to get through this. He is. And Chicago is a great sports town. They got great sports fans. But the consensus for all fans is if we're not winning now, everybody needs to get the hell out. Yeah. And listen, there are places I'm sure that are broken, locker rooms that may not be sticking together or staffs that need to shake ups from time to time. But I would continue to preach patience for players and for coaches. But you know what it starts with? Ownership. Ownership has to come out and make strong statements. This is the plan. This is what we're doing. We're going to trust the process or trust the guys that are in place. Unless there's a major problem, an issue, an arrest, or something that throws a wrench in the plans.
A lot of those coming.
I don't know. I'm just thinking of what could derail. Hey, listen, we're giving this thing 3 years. This is what we're doing. And I don't care what the outside opinions are, but unfortunately, I think there's too often the opinions of whether it's the social media world or the incredible experts out there talking about football actually impacts.
Bill told us that yesterday. Bill Belichick told us that.
At billion dollar organizations.
Bill told us that yesterday. We're mind blown. Like, because we had heard that was potentially the case in some spots because our name had been mentioned maybe and a coach had to answer for something that I fucking said on my show for him. He's like, do you know that I had to actually, because you, and I'm like, oh no, that can't be real. And then we asked Bill yesterday, he's like, back in Cleveland, they were saying things. In the morning paper, he would have to answer the questions that were basically coming through the opinion parts of newspapers. He's like, this has been happening since the beginning of time, seemingly, with teams. That's wild. That is wild to think about. But hey, makes it fun, doesn't it?
Hell yeah.
Certainly does.
That's what we've been saying this whole time. We should be listened to.
Duh.
Yeah. We should be the ones.
Not us.
Just give us a team.
Please.
We'll be back tomorrow with another great show that'll impact the NFL.